All right, Ben, thank you so much. Oh, here comes your hand. Perfect. Ben, thank you so much for agreeing to have a chat today about some of the changes that you made to your eating patterns or your diet, some would call it, after stroke. I guess I just wanted to have a bit of a conversation today about what your eating patterns or eating habits were like before you had your stroke, and I guess what changes you may have made afterwards. So it would be great if you could share your experience.
Yeah. Well, the biggest changes I've made is I have breakfast.
Mhm.
That's one change. Before stroke, I was too busy with work and all to have breakfast in the morning. I have snacks in between my meals, but healthy ones, and I use smaller plates.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So because you have to, I went from a normal standard plate piled up to like it's a dessert plate really,
Mhm.
not piled up. So that's a big difference. The only problem I have with the Mediterranean diet is the 4 tablespoons of olive oil and the 2 liters of water every day.
Okay. And so
Some days, yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, so how are you going with that, and what might be some of your tips for people that are having similar experiences to you?
Well, I'm going with the water on and off.
Mhm.
Some days I make it, other days I definitely don't.
Yeah.
The olive oil is a constant problem,
Okay.
really, because 4 tablespoons is quite a lot.
It really is. So how do you use olive oil in your food preparation, Ben?
Usually I use it in salad dressings.
Yeah.
And to cook certain things.
Okay. So that could just about give you the 4 tablespoons, can't it?
Yes, the problem is I don't have salad every day.
Ah, well, there's one thing to strive towards, Ben. That's awesome.
I know.
And what about the water? You mentioned the water is a bit of a struggle for you as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, it's easier in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start with that. In the summer, I quite regularly hit my target of 2 liters a day. In winter, it's a total different matter.
Yeah.
And I know all other drinks count as well. So when you have coffee but 2 liters is quite a lot.
It really is.
Especially if you're not used to drinking water. I wasn't used to drinking water before my stroke, so.
And so is there any things that make it easier for you to meet that target, Ben? Like, have you put in place some strategies like having maybe a jug that, is 2 liters full, or 2 jugs worth that you kind of keep an eye on so you know your progress throughout the day? Is there
Yeah, I try to do that. The same with olive oil. I usually around midday, because in the morning you don't have olive oil, do you? Around about midday, I measure it and then see how much I use. But yeah, it's a good strategy to keep tabs on what you're using.
Yeah.
It's just getting yourself to use it all.
Yeah, that's right.
The problem.
And look, I think when you're starting from not using olive oil at all, I think it's great to think about the progress that you're making rather than necessarily the end goal straight away.
Yeah,
it sounds
absolutely.
like.
I feel lots better with the Mediterranean diet, and I lost about 15 kilo doing it. But well, it's a combination of diet and exercise, and a diet on itself just doesn't work.
Yep. And what sort of changes did you have to make, Ben, from your diet pre-stroke? Like, if you're happy to share, were you eating some things that perhaps weren't in keeping with the Mediterranean diet before you had your stroke?
Not in my main meals, but in my snacking.
Yeah, okay.
I made a lot of changes in my snacking. Instead of crisp, I'm having fruit. But not on its own. I have fruit with a bit of yogurt or a bit of cheese because it tends to get rid of the sugars quicker. Terrific. So that's things I try and do. There's always fruit in the house now, always.
Which perhaps wasn't there as much beforehand.
Oh no, fruit was something to look at or to see in a painting.
I see.
Yeah. No.
That's great.
That's a big change.
Yeah, terrific. And is there any other tips that you think you might be able to share, Ben, in how you have adapted your eating habits or your diet at home to help with promoting this Mediterranean diet, or this sort of reduction of eating things you shouldn't eat for secondary stroke?
Yeah, I do try and have my meals and my snacks at the same time every day, so my body gets regular fuel. Because there's nothing worse than not having breakfast, then having half a lunch.
Yep.
And then at night you're hungry, you eat your dinner and you keep on snacking.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, those late night snacks.
Yeah, reduce my alcohol intake.
Yep.
By like 75%, I think.
Well done. That's awesome. Good on you, Ben. And Ben, can I ask, do you, and maybe this is a bit controversial, but do you do any or much cooking yourself in the home?
I do all the cooking in the home.
Oh, you are a dream man. And is that something you did before the stroke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So quite.
And when I had my stroke, they told me not to stay away from hot surfaces and sharp things.
Yep.
So I totally disregarded that.
Terrific.
And burned and cut myself a couple of times, but so far so good.
Well done you. Well done you. And look, we all get cuts and burns in the kitchen. So as long as we're
There
being,
you go.
that's the main thing.
Yeah. It's
then,
I just love it.
Yeah, and it clearly is who you are, and it helps you be who you were before the stroke, after the stroke, which is really, really important, isn't it?
And it's great exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, peeling a potato and manipulating the potato is quite good exercise with the weekend.
Yeah. And is that something that you struggled with earlier on, Ben? And
yeah.
Yeah. But
in the beginning of my stroke, I dropped more things than I kept hold of, but well.
Yeah. And
it's much better now.
Good on you. And what do you think, Ben, in the early stages, what do you think kept you going with wanting to continue cooking or wanting to continue eating a healthy diet? What were some of your motivating factors?
Because cooking for me was part of my daily life, my daily routine.
Mm.
And stroke kind of messed it up completely. And that was the one part I got back first.
Mm.
And then you build up from there. It's important. I don't understand people who say, oh, I don't have time for cooking.
Mm.
It's really important. It's what keeps you alive, basically, eating.
Yeah.
And eating well, obviously.
And it gives most people a lot of joy as well, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I had lots of Mediterranean cookbooks anyway, Italy, Spain, all that. So I'm using that on a regular basis.
Good on you, Ben. And you know, just to share a little bit, what are some of your favorite things that you cook at home that you love?
I love plain simple things. Like a sausage with lots of meat and potatoes. I also like vegetarian dishes. Like I made aubergine bake the other day, which was really nice. All it had in it was aubergine, tomato, cheese, and that was about it. But it works really well. And Italian dishes seem to be very tasty with not a lot of ingredients.
And just for us Australians here, Ben, what's aubergine? Is that an eggplant?
Yes, that's an eggplant.
Got it. So this is the beauty of having an international program. We have the benefit of having input from people like yourself, Ben, who clearly live on a slightly different part of this wonderful earth we live on. So this is terrific.
I'm not that far away, 11,000 miles or something. Ain't that bad.
And a few hours different.
Yeah.
Well. That's terrific.
Oh yeah.
Ben, that's so helpful, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on how you adapted your eating patterns, and obviously it's something that you've done together with your family and still continue to do so well past your stroke. So that's incredible. Thank you.
No worries.